Yes, this is going to get you one step closer to healthy succulents. That is so much better. That's exactly what I was looking for. So what is the key to a good succulent soil mix? Is there something that you should be doing? Is there something that you aren't doing? I like experimenting when it comes to soil over the years. I've been on my succulent journey for about 5 years now. I started in the pandemic. So there's definitely a lot of things that have improved with my soil, a lot of things I've learned. Hopefully you can pick up some tips or tricks that I've learned over the years to help you with the health of your plants in your succulent garden. This is my standard succulent soil that I made the other day. It's pretty simple. The only thing it is standard cactus soil, the Miracle Grow kind that I get from Home Depot. And I added a little bit of perlite to it. It just gives it a nice airy chunkiness, but I wanted to add some other things to it. This is what I make when I'm sort of in a rush and I'm just trying to plant things and get things going. But there's nothing wrong with this one. This is a great one to start off with if you're on a budget like I was in the beginning. But if you're willing to experiment a little bit and add some other elements to it, then keep watching, because I'm going to show you another way that I've recently liked mixing up my soil. I love using this kitty litter tray when it comes to mixing my soil. I find that when you have a wider bin, that you can just mix it a little better compared to if I put it in something like this. It's a little deeper and it gets harder to get to the bottom and the soil starts to get really heavy. So once I mix it up into my bin right here, then I will add it to a deeper pot like this just to keep it in here and to have it on hand when I want to reach in and start planting other plants. Let's gather all the materials we need and start to mix up this soil. Whoa, these are heavy. Whew. When I first started my succulent journey, this is the first soil that I started off with. This is what really got my succulent garden going in the beginning. And for the most part, I think a lot of my succulents did really well with it. I didn't have any problems. The only thing that I would say about it, sometimes it depends on the batch, but depends on the batch, and sometimes it'll be mixed in with a whole bunch of sticks, and I don't know, I don't really like that too much, so it's not too much of a big deal. When I'm mixing my soil, I'll just go through and start picking them out. Most standard cactus soil does not have enough grittiness as it should, so that's why I like to add other elements to it. So here's a good example. When you water your succulents, you don't want your succulents to sit in water for too long, because that could lead to root rot. So when you add water to your succulents, you want a nice, draining, airy, gritty soil. And this soil on its own, without any elements in it, once you water your succulents, you see that it starts clumping up. I like to do a squeeze test, and if you squeeze your succulent soil and it stays clumpy like that, that's not what we're looking for. Let me show you the benefits of adding all the extra elements to it so it can be nice and gritty. So first thing that we're gonna start off with is our standard cactus soil. Next thing that I love adding, out of all of the elements here, this is the number one that is just my all-time favorite. You can use it for multiple things. I like adding this right into my succulent soil. I like to use it as top dressing. It's my all-time favorite, which is decomposed granite. As you can see, it's really gritty. They're really small pebbles, which I really like. I've seen other videos where people like to measure, but for me, I let my ancestors guide me, and I just add till my heart is content. And I just keep in mind, the grittier the better. You know what? I'm gonna add this whole bag. Let me see if I could give you guys a better view. So this is what that decomposed granite looks like. Here's a little up close. I like to add it right into the succulent soil. And that alone is already giving it a good grittiness. As you can see, there's a huge difference just with that element alone. Found an extra bag. This is the brand that I like using. Now with the rain recently, this bag got pretty soaked, but as you can see, this is what it looks like. It has quite a bit of sand in it. What I like doing is sifting the two so I can separate the sand from the rocks. This is a great deal for about $5 or $6 and you get a huge amount. So yeah, this is the one I like getting. So when I separate the two, I like to put them into bags like this just to keep them a little more organized. This is what the rocks look like once they're sifted. And here is some of the sand. There's quite a lot of sand in it as well. I like to use both the sand and the granite to add to the succulent mix, but I like to have them separated just so it gives me a little bit more of control of how much I'm putting of each one. I'll add some of this in there too, but not too much. I don't like to add too much sand because, oh my gosh, Sunny's going crazy. Sand tends to hold a little extra moisture if you put too much, but if you put the right amount, Sunny. But I find when you put the right amount, it adds a good grittiness to it, so that's been working for me. The next element that I've been loving so much is red lava rocks, and I like the smaller ones. It just gives it a nice grittiness. Here they are right here, and like I said, I'm just letting my ancestors guide me and just adding till my heart is content. Here is a little bit of an up close of the lava rocks. I like to get them at my local nursery. I have a huge bag right here and it cost me about $8 for this entire bag, which isn't bad. I like to just add them right into the soil. I've been loving this mix lately. It just gives me a better draining soil overall, and my plants have been loving it. They've been responding well to it, so I can't complain. The next thing that I love to add, which is the first thing that I started off with along with my cactus soil, it's perlite. This bag cost me about $20 if I'm not mistaken, and it's been lasting me quite a while now, so it's a good investment. It's just not good for your lungs. So one thing besides a face mask that I would recommend is something that was recommended by one of you guys, which I thank you so much because I've never thought of this, and it's something so simple, but I started wetting my perlite before handling it. One of the greatest things that one of you recommended, so whoever recommended that, thank you so much, because it's just so dusty and I honestly don't use a face mask like I said, like I should. I don't always have them on hand, but if you wet your perlite before adding it to your soil, I promise you it just makes things so much easier. I'm gonna add 3 scoops. I think 3 scoops is good. And for me, I love mixing the soil with my hands. I feel like, I know I'm wearing gloves, but it just feels good. It's kind of like a therapy session, honestly. You know when you're a kid and you get yelled at for like playing in the dirt when we're not supposed to? Well, I feel like I'm living out my childhood dreams here, just playing with dirt. But this is one of my favorite parts. I like to get in there and just use my hands. But I do like to wear gloves because one thing I'll say, I'm really terrified of any worms or bugs or creepy crawly things, and I come across a lot of those in my garden soil. I've come across worms randomly and they were in my hands while I was mixing and I didn't notice until after, and I've been terrified ever since. So gloves is the way to go for me. Oh my gosh, this is so gritty and nice and it's feeling good already. I feel like I want to add one more of the lava rock. There's one more important thing that I like adding to the mix, which is fertilizer. I see some people use worm castings, which I haven't tried yet, and I've always wanted to try it, but like I said, I'm a little on the edge with worms and stuff like that, and I know there's not worms in it, or maybe there might be, but it's been a little off-putting to me, so I just kind of skipped that one. Maybe one day I'll take that next step and get some of the worm castings. But for now, let me show you what's worked for me. This is a compost blend mixed with steer manure. So this is what I like using for fertilizer. And this might be a little off-putting to people as well, but I promise you, once you start handling it and using it in your soil, it's not that bad, and it doesn't smell as bad as you probably think. It's a good compost blend. I wouldn't recommend using straight manure because it could just probably burn your plants since it's a little on the stronger side. So a compost blend would be perfect. That's just what works for me. I don't like to add too much of it, just a few handfuls is fine. Anyways, your succulents aren't gonna take in too much nutrients. They're just gonna take what they need from the soil. And succulents aren't high feeders. They don't need much to survive and thrive when it comes to the nutrients. Just enough is fine. Look at that. It's already so nice and gritty. One of the mistakes that I can share with you that I did in the beginning is put far too much soil and not enough of the grittiness. My succulents did fine for a little while without any perlite or anything in the mix, but after a while I started to see that they were dying. I didn't know why. I kept watering them thinking they needed more water, which wasn't the case at all, which caused a lot of root rot and a lot of disappointment in the end. And I was so discouraged. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. The more research I did and the more I just kept trying, the better I got at it over time, and I just figured out what worked for me. And little did I know, it was just needing a lot of grittiness and a lot more elements. That's what I'm talking about when I say the bag has a lot of sticks in it. I just pull them out whenever I come across them. The smaller ones are fine, but sometimes just there's too many for me in there and I just pick them out. Don't give up, just keep trying and figure out what works for you. Eventually you're gonna get it, and then it's gonna just start flowing and you're gonna get into the rhythm of things. You're gonna start to see a big change and shift in the health of your plants. They're gonna start growing and multiplying. It just started getting addicting to me, the whole process and figuring out what worked for me. So I encourage you to do the same, because I get it, it could be a little discouraging at times, but it's so worth it if you don't give up and you just keep trying. I believe in you, you can do this. Yes, this is gonna get you one step closer to healthy succulents. So if you're just starting off, get your succulent soil and just add whatever you can to it to get it nice and gritty. Even if you just start off with perlite or something more affordable like the decomposed granite, it's perfect to start off with. Oh, hey Sunny. Okay Sunny, let me know what you think. Drum roll please. Let's see what the master says. What do you think, Sunny? And the verdict is yes! We did it! High five, Sunny. All right. He approves, so I approve too. Thank you, Sunny. All right, moment of truth. Let's see what happens. It's not well draining enough, so let's go back and add some more things. See, this is why it's good to test things out, because just add more to it. So trial and error. Let's try again. Add a whole bunch more lava rocks. See, this is the beauty of the soil. You just keep adding. Let's try this again. We're gonna add a little bit more perlite. Sunny, did you pee on this? Cochino. I swear this boy marks his territory everywhere we go. Oh, Sunny. Here's an example of that top dressing. I think it just makes it look so neat and beautiful and just really organized. I like to look at potting succulents as an art form in a way. I just like how beautiful it looks and how the rocks sort of complement and contrast the succulents. If you ask me, they look pretty nice. And I just love it. I use my kitty litter tray for everything, especially when I pot my succulents. Let me move this so you can see. So when I pot succulents, I think it's so convenient. I just put it right into the kitty litter tray and I do it like this. Works out because if any falls out, it doesn't cause a mess and it falls right back into the bin, which is awesome. So every time I mix my soil, I use some sort of bin. And I just put it in there so I have easy access to fill up my kitty litter tray. Just so when I'm ready to start potting, I could add some right into my kitty litter tray and take it wherever I like around my garden, which makes it so easy and so convenient. But for now, I'm gonna add it all into this bin. May I ask if you please don't pee on that? Hello. Oh, okay, thank you. Love you. I swear, this boy pees on everything. Okay, I think I got it to where I like it now. I added a lot more red lava rocks and quite a bit of the perlite. So let's try this again. Attempt number 2. Attempt number 2, fingers crossed. That is so much better. That's exactly what I was looking for. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now that's when the draining holes come into play. Once the water enters, it needs somewhere to exit. So that's exactly what we're looking for. And you see, even after all these years, 4 or 5 years later, I still even struggle till this day, and I'm still learning. And sometimes I get a little frustrated because things aren't going my way, which I'm sure we've all been there. And when it comes to the plant world, especially my succulent journey, there's so many things to learn till this day. So if I can share any of my mistakes or anything that's helped me along the way, you see, even 4 or 5 years later, however long I've been doing this, I still find a learning curve, or I still find difficulties in learning what works for me. So I hoped all these tips and tricks helped you today. If anyone has any extra tips or tricks or questions about today's video, please leave them in the comments down below. But until next time, I will catch you in the next one. Bye.